All right, guys, I'm just going to start making this video. I've been working on this since like 9 o'clock this morning, and it's already 12:30. We could literally be here for like a week straight talking about River Phoenix and all of the weirdness that surrounded that entire situation. There's literally so much to talk about. I do not have time to cover everything today. Maybe we'll do more videos in the future, but there's some interesting connections I've been making, and I just wanted to share those. If you're somebody that likes to use your brain to think, you'll like this video. Um, Once you start operating under the assumption that everything is BS, things just jump out at you, right? I mean, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir with a lot of you guys. I've learned a lot from you, from the people that watch my videos. But I am somebody who doesn't believe anything anymore, where sometimes I even have to check myself, like my conspiracy brain has just taken over everything, where I don't believe anything. But I really do try to look at all sides of stuff. So let's just get into this, and I think you'll find it interesting. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming you're interested in River Phoenix. I highly encourage you to check out the Wikipedia page, his Wikipedia page. There's a lot of golden nuggets here. And of course, you've got to read it and try to sift through the bullshit, because you can't believe everything you see. You can't believe everything you read. There's a lot of good stuff here. Now, supposedly, River Phoenix died on October 31st, 1993. And I'm just going to talk real quickly about my knowledge of River Phoenix at that time. In October of 1993, I was only 14 years old. This is pre-internet, don't forget. The only movie I had ever seen of River Phoenix at that time was Stand By Me, and my sister and I loved this movie. This is how I knew River Phoenix. Like, this is what I remember him looking like. It wasn't until years later, well, let me just back up and say, even when I was 14 and I had heard about the death of River Phoenix, like, I just remember that feeling like that it sounded weird to me. But at that time, the only news we had were like newspapers, whatever was on the news, and magazines. And as a kid, you don't assume that if they say a celebrity died, you don't assume they're lying. You know what I'm saying? But stuff has always seemed just off about this entire story to me, and that's kind of what we're talking about today. So anyways, I had no idea what like the heartthrob River Phoenix actually looked like. It wasn't until the early 2000s when I was in college, and I'm a Leo fan at that point. It's the early 2000s, and like the most recent person that I heard fangirling about River Phoenix was Leonardo DiCaprio in a couple different interviews. And I remember I was in the computer lab at my in my dorm at college, and for some reason I just like started looking up pictures of River Phoenix, and like this is still kind of early days of the internet, but I don't even know if Google was around, but I remember typing in River Phoenix and like finding all these gorgeous pictures, and I was like, okay, like I have a crush on a dead guy, right? Super cute. Um all right, so let's get into all the weirdness. I just wanted to kind of give my backstory and knowledge, and then I started watching some of his other movies. I saw A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon, loved that one. I still haven't seen all of River Phoenix's movies, but I've spent a great deal of time kind of like reading and watching a bunch of stuff about this death, which I've got some opinions on, and I hope you guys will leave me some comments so we can discuss. All right, let's get into it. Also, this is a Wretched Recess original. I am going to present some things I have never heard discussed anywhere. Let me just give you a preview of what's to come. One of my favorite actors when I was younger was Christian Slater. And I'm not saying this is the same person, but I found a lot of interesting connections are like parallels between these two. And we're going to get into that in just a little bit. Okay, so let's back it up to October 31st, 1993. As the story goes, River Phoenix died outside of this Viper Room club, which is on the Sunset Strip, which was owned by Johnny Depp. There's a ton of documentaries, and it's so hard to actually know what the truth is. And there's a lot of kind of like conflicting stories, and the people that were there changed their stories. One of the person that they said kept changing their story was somebody by the name of Samantha Mathis, who he was dating at the time. We are going to get into her either at the end of this video, or I might have to make a second video because I found some weird shit about this person too. If you've never been to Hollywood and you've never been to the Sunset Strip, there is something I need you to understand, which makes this entire story so unbelievable. Here's my little receipts. When I went to the Sunset Strip, I've been there, I don't know, like at least 2 or 3 times. I live in the Midwest. I've taken a couple trips to California. When I was younger, I was at the Rainbow, and I can't even believe I had extra drink tickets. You have to pay for these. But I think I kept them as souvenirs. So these are back from like, I don't know when the last time I was there, probably like 2003, I would say. But this is what the drink tickets used to look like, and I saved some little napkins from the whiskey. So I've been there. Here's what started seeming like bullshit that started me on this kind of like deep dive into what really happened here. If you've been to the Sunset Strip, you know how busy it is, right? It's crowded. Both times I was there, it was just like regular, it was weekend nights, but it wasn't a holiday or anything like that. And the reason I say holiday is if River Phoenix died on Halloween, I would expect that like that place was crazy. There's a ton of people outside. There's like just so much action going on. The only picture we have ever seen is stuff like this. Google right now, well, actually, when you stop watching this video, I don't want you to leave the video. Google pictures of River Phoenix, like outside the Viper Room dying or whatever. You're not going to find any. Does anybody think that's weird? What I'm getting at is there are a million people around. There's a million tourists. There's just action everywhere. If one of the most famous young celebrities is outside on the pavement convulsing, shouldn't we have like a ton of paparazzi pictures? Shouldn't we have tourist pictures? Nobody has photos of this ever happening. This is the only thing you see from that night. Or like this isn't from that night, but like they never show any pictures of him outside on the sidewalk. And don't be fooled, because like I got mad when I started, there's a couple of these like on Pinterest, and I think people are confused. You will see some pictures like this. This is from a documentary, which I have seen. It's called Final 24. It's like a documentary series, and they did one of River Phoenix. And this guy has nice hair, but it's not him. So there are no existing photos that I know of River Phoenix outside the Viper Room convulsing on the sidewalk. Like, riddle me this. How is that possible outside a club that is owned by Johnny Depp? There's got to be paparazzi around. There's got to, especially on Halloween, we should have a million pictures of this event. And I know that's before the internet, but still, like, not one picture, guys. Come on. It didn't happen. Like, that's what I can conclude, is it didn't happen. Where is the photo evidence of this ever taking place? So, that is just one of my opinions. Like, no photos of this seems extremely suspicious. So I just pulled up, like, I remember, it was in the newspaper and stuff like that, but there again was never any pictures of um him on the sidewalk or anything like that. It was just articles about him dying. Okay, do me a favor. This looks fake. This looks like Hollywood makeup, like they tried to make it look like somebody is dead here. Is one of like the cutest young most famous actors gonna be buried in whatever space shuttle, like whatever, I don't know what this t-shirt is, like some random t-shirt. This is not River Phoenix. Like this is something fake that surfaced, I don't even know when, but the story behind this was this is the only photo of River Phoenix dead that they were having like a service and a fan busted in and snapped a picture. Bitch, please. Like that is ridiculous. This is probably him either like, being silly, taking a picture, thinking it was funny, um just like a fake AI, I don't know. There is no way this is real. Here's another one from like that documentary. And and look, this even looks like AI. That guy back there looks fake. Um these people in the background look fake. I just don't want anybody saying, "Oh, there are pictures. This is from a documentary or this is like AI. This is not real." This is the actor who played him in the documentary. And so you have to be willing to read and you have to be willing to dig. There never was a service like that where he was in a casket because multiple sources say he was cremated and his ashes are scattered at the family ranch in Florida. Another person that said that was in that final 24 documentary, which I have pulled up on my TV right now. This guy, is a friend of River Phoenix, and his wife was the personal assistant, and they said they were not at the Viper Room that night. But he goes, I can't remember who called me. It was either his brother or his sister. Bitch, if your best friend is dying, you're going to remember who called you. So that is such a huge lie. Okay, so if you watch this documentary, and I'm at 49 minutes and 56 seconds. Sorry, my hair's up in a messy bun. I think you just saw me there on the TV. This guy, who is also, I forget his relationship to River Phoenix, but he's one of his friends. He was saying, "Oh, I was just devastated, and I brought his ashes home with his sister," something along those lines. We brought the ashes home. So the reason I felt the need to prove all that is that makes this just ridiculous pile of crap, right? Like this is not a real thing. And when did his hair look like this? Like it did not look like this at the end of his life. So, yeah, this is not believable at all. Okay, then. So what's the truth? Did he die? Did he not die? Like there's so many different angles you could take with this story. I don't believe, you cannot believe this story at face value. Another thing I read, or like a video I watched along the way said, like Johnny Depp realized what was happening and pushed him out the front door of the club. If I'm a celebrity club owner, I'm Johnny Depp, I am not pushing your ass out the front door to the wolves where there should be a million people with cameras and, paparazzi and stuff. I'm pushing your ass to the club office or the basement, like something. You are not going outside the club. Um, so I don't believe that story either. So then it's like, where is River Phoenix? Like, what happened? Do we believe he died? Um, Within this community, there's so many different stories. Like, some people really believe he was murdered by this speedball, I think they called it. It was like heroin and cocaine, they're claiming, like that he took with alcohol. I don't, whatever it was. Was he murdered? I mean, if you think about it, there were people in that club who could have benefited career wise from River Phoenix being out of the picture. No pun intended there. Um, but I don't know. Um, I don't know. And I'm definitely not naming names. I'm not trying to piss off any rich satanic people by calling out any names, but that is one angle you could take. Perhaps it was a murder, like, because some people were like, he wasn't on drugs at that time, he was, like, clean, so, like, that story doesn't make sense, but then in that documentary I was just watching, they were like, he was heavily using drugs at that time, um, making the story believable, but so, let's explore the next option. River Phoenix kind of had, like, a grunge and flannel look going on, like, yes, this is, the early '90s. Oh, I forgot to mention, something important from this Final 24 documentary. They did pretty much go into great detail saying River Phoenix at this time, or around the time, getting close to the end of his life, he was making this movie called My Own Private Idaho, where he was like, it was about male prostitution. That is one movie I haven't seen, but I'm about to watch it after I'm like, I probably should have watched it before I made this, but if I watched every single thing in every video and read everything, I would never get this video up. So, last night I watched Running on Empty, and I've got stuff to say about that. Like, this really might need to be 2 videos. And I know I'm skipping over a lot, but I mean, I can't be here all week making this video. You know what I'm saying? This could be like a 5-hour video. Um, in this documentary, they were saying that he was really doing his research for My Own Private Idaho, and it included like, there were like these boys on the streets doing really hard drugs, and they said his drug use at this time, like, really escalated to something kind of scary. So I don't know how true that is, but they did mention that in this documentary. So, I'm making this video to have a discussion with like minded people. I cannot stand videos where the people come on and act like some authority and talk about what happened, but they're just parroting bullshit. Like, this is a channel where we're using our minds to really explore other options, and we know that we're lied to about a lot of different stuff. So, like, what happened to River Phoenix? Did he die? Did he kill off that character? And like, this is where I'm getting to now. Did he kill off the River Phoenix character because he was super into music? And that's from everything I've read, every video I've watched, every documentary, everybody said even more so than acting in movies, like, music was his passion. He really wanted to be taken seriously as a musician. So this is, early '90s. One theory that I find absolutely fascinating is people think that River Phoenix is actually Kurt Cobain, which honestly, like, is kind of believable. You know what I'm saying? Like, lots of people wear Converse, so, like, I'm not saying, like, just because of that, but, he was looking, like, a little grungy, and he was wearing his flannels, and he was into music, and honestly, if you really look at Kurt Cobain, like, there's some differences, but there's also some similarities too, and I guess they were saying, like, River Phoenix was not being taken seriously with the name River Phoenix because he was, like, the golden boy of Hollywood, um, so, like, but here's the thing that doesn't add up. Nirvana had already been around, maybe not, like, super famous yet, like, as I think, like, from the like, not early '80s, late '80s. Like, my sister was actually a fan of them from early on before they hit it big. She saw Nirvana at some small club, and she said Kurt Cobain was sitting on the floor by himself, similar to this, like, in that damn cardigan. She saw him. And, this was like before they were really famous. So the only problem with this theory is that River Phoenix died in 1993. And then Kurt Cobain died in 1994. If I'm River Phoenix and I'm killing off my Hollywood career, as River Phoenix. Why am I killing my music career in 1994? um, I don't know, guys. I don't believe anything. I don't believe Kurt Cobain's death. Like, I don't believe any of these celebrity deaths. There's always something weird about all of them. A lot of the people in that 27 club that they say they all die at 27, there is so much evidence. That'll maybe have to be another video where we can talk about. There is so much evidence of so many of those people coming back and playing different characters. I am so fascinated by those stories, like that angle of the conspiracy world. And like I said here, I don't claim to know the truth about any of this. This is just us thinking out loud and making connections. So that was like a 20-minute summary of that was a 20-minute summary of something that could have taken like hours and hours to discuss. And I'm sorry about that, but I can't make like a 10-hour video. Let me get into something super cool now. I cannot believe I almost forgot to mention this. Okay, so we went over the Kurt Cobain one very quickly. Did he become, was he a musician in Nirvana? Whatever. Um, a really, really weird part of this story about the River Phoenix death is that supposedly, and there are videos of Leonardo DiCaprio kind of like, like speaking very highly of River Phoenix as one of his idols when he was younger. They're on YouTube. A very strange thing about this story is that Leonardo DiCaprio never got to meet his idol, River Phoenix, which is very, very, very hard for me to believe because you are, I mean, granted, his career didn't like skyrocket yet, but you're two of the cutest boys ever in Hollywood and your paths didn't cross at all, which is hard for me to believe. If you've ever seen documentaries like The Open Secret and stuff like that, you know that these boys were in Hollywood, like they have these young actors together and it's weird. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that for right now. Hard for me to believe that their paths didn't cross before that, but your ass was there the night that he died. And a lot of people think, like, I've seen a lot of comments say, like, they think River Phoenix is playing the part of Leonardo DiCaprio. There's a lot of pictures where, I mean, they're both obviously super attractive and have a very similar look, similar hair. In some pictures, River Phoenix looks a lot like him. They do look alike. I mean, I'm not, for sure. Um, there's this one picture of River Phoenix that looks just like Leo. And not just this one. I mean, there's others where they look similar, but check that out. I'm almost like, is that even like, is that Leo? And like somebody just put this on the wrong like photo page? I don't know. But I'm looking at the time and this video is already 23 minutes and I'm so sorry guys. Like I know I just like went over that stuff so fast, but I like I said, we could be here all day. But yeah, the shadiest part about the Leo thing is he was like supposedly one of the very last people that saw River Phoenix alive. And then he launches into superstardom. Like, I don't know. It's a very, that's a pretty creepy story, if you ask me. I have a bunch of stuff to say about River Phoenix and Christian Slater and also River Phoenix's girlfriend at the time, Samantha Mathis. This video is already 24 minutes long. I hope you guys somewhat enjoyed it. I feel like I went really fast and glossed over some pretty important things. But there's one thing I have to say here. This is about like the legitimacy of Leonardo DiCaprio and like, is this a real person? I have kind of like a personal story to share. So I have a cousin named Gary, and Gary moved to LA like years and years ago. Like probably if I had to guess, it was like the early 80s. And he's one of those cousins that like just kind of stays away from the family. Like I've literally met him twice, but this is my mom's first cousin. Um, He came home for a family wedding in 1998 at the height of, Leo craziness. And, I was just like having my very first conversation with Gary. And by the way, like, Gary, if you ever come across this video, I'm sorry. Thank you for the headshot, by the way. But his appearance, I was taken aback, and I was 1998. I was 19. This was before I got into any of this kind of stuff, before I had any kind of like awakening. His look was very like, he looked satanic, okay? He had a scary look to him. Um, okay, here's why I'm showing this to you. He was asking me about my favorite movies, and he's like, who's your favorite actor? And of course it's 1998, and I was like, Leonardo DiCaprio. And these were his words verbatim. He was like, oh, I've known George for years. Leo's a good kid. And I'm standing there like, what the hell did you just say to me? So my cousin Gary, he's telling me that he knows George DiCaprio, been friends for years and whatnot. So, unless my cousin Gary is completely full of shit and like a George DiCaprio crazed fan, which is pretty highly unlikely, then that means like Leo is who he says he is, and George DiCaprio is his dad. And I wish I had a picture of my cousin Gary to show you, because he looks just like this guy, just with like really short hair, but he had the black goatee and everything. This, of course, is George DiCaprio. So I can see where they would be friends, but it was just kind of blew my mind. And so, anyhow, shortly after that conversation, like after that family wedding, he sent me an autographed headshot of Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, and my name is on here and everything. I'm covering it up with this rainbow drink ticket. But yeah. And if you want to see what this fine print says, like, it was 1998 when he sent this to me. This is the Leonardo DiCaprio official international fan club. Like, I don't think my cousin Gary was in his fan club. You know what I'm saying? So did he dial up George to get this for me? Like, that's basically what he was saying. So anywho, I have this and it's pretty cool. I don't know. So anyways, I just thought I would share that because like what okay, anyways, back to River Phoenix. What happened to River Phoenix? I have a whole video with more connections. We'll talk about that in the next one. This is 27 minutes long. I hope you enjoyed it, and please leave me your thoughts and comments below. And I'll make part 2 here pretty soon. We are also going to talk about the movie Don's Plum, starring this guy and Tobey Maguire. That's going to be a fun thing to talk about. Okay, bye.